This is Duncan here with the Montreal MG Car Club, and this video is to talk with a couple of the original members of the MMGCC, and I'm really pleased to be joined by Gord and Duncan Kirton. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
So as we go right back and rewind right to the beginning, tell us about the formation of the club and the first couple of meetings that you had.
John knows it better than I do, much better.
Go ahead, John.
Well, my recollection is that I had bought an MGTC from the sports car company down on St. Antoine, just behind the Bell Centre. And it was in pretty rough shape, and I lived in Montreal West at that time, and somewhere along the line I met somebody, and I don't remember who it was, but I think it was Dave Campbell, and he had a TD, and he said to me, "Oh, some of us are getting together at Piazza Tommaso, would you like to come?" And so I went, and I think at that stage in the game we had about maybe half a dozen, maybe 6 or 7
And what year
people.
was this at this time?
That would have been early spring of 52.
52.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we met there one evening and talked about it. And the next meeting that I recall is Hugh Clelland's basement, as I said, in NDG. And we had a couple more. I had met John Lequier the year before, because we used to both shoot in pistol competitions at the old RCMP headquarters on St. Catherine Street, just a little bit west of Atwater.
Okay.
And he had bought a TC in the fall of 51. And that was what got me to buy my TC. It was I that brought John to his first meeting. And at that first meeting with Dave at Hugh Clelland's, we elected Dave Campbell as the first president. And Dave and his wife Peggy had an MG, a TD at that stage in the game. They subsequently bought a Healy, and they eventually moved down to the States. Oh, it must be probably 10 years later, so I haven't been in touch with them.
So you're starting off with a couple of meetings then, John. How did you get going on things like the drives and the...
Hang on, there's one thing I want to say. The first meeting I went to was at Pete Singer's apartment on Queen Mary Road. I think that was the third meeting, if I'm not mistaken.
It could easily have been, yes.
And the word got around that there were a bunch of MG guys getting together at Pete Singer's apartment.
Right.
Now, if I look at it from Pete Singer's point of view, he tells a story about, well, we're going to have about 10 to 12 guys here. We're going to need some beer.
Okay.
So they went up and got 2 cases of beer. Well, 45 cars showed up, and there was no beer. So we were hanging out in his room, his bedroom, in his hall, in his living room. There were guys, MG owners, also we couldn't have a proper meeting, if I recall.
Right.
But one thing I did do that night is, before it got too dark, I walked up the street and I took a picture of these 40 MGs lined up on both sides of Queen Mary Road.
Very good.
And I've got to find that picture. I have it somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I've got to find it. That was the first that was when the meeting got going.
Yeah.
And that was the meeting in which Ross de St. Croix came, and then Dick Hamilton joined us for the next meeting, and Bob Pocket for the next meeting.
Okay.
So those are Bob Pocket and Dick Hamilton and myself are the 3 early members that are still active.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So give us a story about some of the driving that you did.
Well, the first event that I recall was a drive down to the States, down to New Hampshire somewhere.
Yeah.
And we had, I think, 6 cars. Pete Singer was one of them, and I have a photograph of that, which I think I sent to you, but which I had it in my machine and I tried to print from it and it wouldn't, so I have to rescan it.
Okay.
But I can send that to you. This is lined up on the street outside Hugh Clelland's house. Hugh Clelland had been in the process of building a hardtop for his TD, so he didn't go.
I remember that.
Yeah. And Tom McCannon and Pete Singer and myself, and there was another guy with a...
Bob Boyce.
I don't think Bob was there yet. He was great friends with Tom McCannon. And
John Smith.
I don't think John Smith was there yet. Anyway, I have this photograph, and I just remember that we went down to New Hampshire, and we were coming back. We'd gone somewhere, maybe one of the mountains down there, and we were coming back through a town, and one of the guys maybe Highland, had a straight pipe on it, and the police arrested him in town. And they were quite taken aback when they suddenly had 6 or 7 MGs all around them. And we finally persuaded the cop to let him go.
What had he done wrong?
He made too much noise going through the town or something.
Having too much fun.
Definitely. Yeah.
The story I like to tell about John Highland was we were going down to Watkins Landing, so this is long before the interstate existed.
Yeah.
We used to take US 11. And John Highland had a girlfriend by the name of Jackie Smith.
Right.
And Jackie had an MGTB.
Yeah.
And it was pouring rain, just like today.
It was Jackie's TV to start with,
Yeah.
was it?
Well, yeah.
Oh.
We're going down the Route 11, pouring rain, and she ran the bearings. Well, John was all set. He could handle this. So in the pouring rain, we all get there, we all lift the MG up in the air. We found some old pieces of wood around. He's lying on the ground in the pouring rain.
And you're lifting the car
We've
up.
got the car up off the ground. He's got the sump off, and he's changing the bearings in the driving rain. We were crazy in those days.
So
That first summer, I took the car. I was in the URTP program, so I went to take my basic officer's course at RMC. And of course, there were only 2 of us on the whole course who had cars of their own, and I was one of them. So everywhere I went, if you're familiar with RMC, you have to come all the way up to the Highway 2 and across the causeway to get into Kingston. So anytime I went anywhere, there'd always be half a dozen cadets who wanted to go. So we would always the police would always stop us somewhere on the causeway and order all these cadets off the car, and that became quite a practice.
Right.
Another time we went up to Fort Henry to go around Fort Henry, and I had parked in the middle of the parking lot of Fort Henry. We went into the fort and went around. I came back, my car had gone. And those half dozen buggers that I had bought had lifted the car and hidden it. Had literally taken it away and hidden it, and I thought it had been stolen, but it hadn't. They had been, 6 of them were able to lift it and move it.
So we'll talk about the newsletters in a minute, Jonathan, but one of the things that I got from the newsletter was this concept of a 1,300-mile rally.
Oh yeah.
In February.
Yeah.
It just blew my
Well,
head off when I
that was
read
Dempsey Winter Rally.
That was the Bempsey Winter Rally.
Can you
that's
just
right.
describe what it was like?
Well, I
to do
never
a rally
went
like
on it.
that?
I went on it.
Oh, yes,
Oh, yeah, I went on it.
The only winter rally that I went on was the one up north. Who was it put on by? SMCC, I think, Sports Motor Car Club of Montreal.
But the Dempsey Winter Rally actually started in Toronto. Actually, 2 starts. It was Toronto and Montreal.
Yeah.
And they met at some common point somewhere north of Kingston. I don't know what. And they took us way the hell up to the bush. And guys like Ross Senko, I was in their TD with their, in a driving snowstorm.
And you didn't have snow tires in those days.
No.
No.
We were mad, all of us on those days.
That was crazy.
I remember I did the SMCC rally with Jimmy Gunn. You remember he was the CASC guy?
Things you couldn't do today.
And he had a Y-type Tourer, and he had these Dunlop natural rubber tires. They were called Dunlop sold them. They were more expensive than regular tires, but they were natural rubber, and they gripped snow and ice a lot better than the regular tires.
Right.
And so we didn't have snow tires, but we did have Dunlop natural rubber tires.
So these cars were being run all the year round then?
Oh yeah,
We
sure.
didn't have salt roads.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, the day they put salt on, I used to take my car to my TD to work.
Yeah.
I worked for Northern Electric, one of the guy in and Dorchester. And I took my TD. I came out of my house one morning, and the roads were melting. I said, "This is the last time I drive my MG in the winter." It was.
Right. So tell us about the formation of the newsletter and some of the.
I don't really remember. I think Lloyd Brown was probably the first editor.
Incidentally, speaking of Lloyd Brown was the one that got the car club registered with the MG Club of England.
Right.
And Lloyd Brown somewhere has the original registration papers, which he gave to his son, who also owned or still owns his TC as far as I know. And I can't find his son. I'd love to find his son, but we have the original. I've got those too. Yeah. I've got those original papers. We got to find those original papers. We got to find them.
So when I read the newsletters, you were deciding upon the formation of the club and the formation of the newsletter itself, and you settled on Dipstick.
Well, Dipstick eventually. It went through several different variations over the years.
Yeah.
But it ended up with Dipstick, and it
Very
stayed
fitting for a
Dipstick
British
quite
car.
a long time, and from about 1954 until about 1960.
Okay. Yeah.
And there they all are.
Right. It's fantastic you've been able to capture those, and with the work that we're doing with the club now, we've made, as Lon said earlier, we've made it our passion to start to capture this stuff for the heritage of the club. So I wanted to say thanks for the work that you've done to share this stuff, John.
You're very welcome indeed, and it's good to see it saved.
Absolutely.
My son has. I thought he was going to take it, but in the end he decided that he had so much junk of his own that he couldn't keep it. So, there it is.
Right, thanks very much, John. And although the medium that we'll be using going forward is a little different to this one,
Of course.
we've got the website there, we've got Facebook going, and this video, as I mentioned, is going to be on the YouTube channel. And but we're going to make it our job to make sure that we're using the new medium, but bringing through the richness of the things that you've shared with us.
Will some of these documents be made available online somewhere?
Yeah. Well, we're going to be going through I'm going to be going through a scanning process for all of it. We're going to put it into a digital archive, and we're going to publish it, and it'll be available to all the members of the club. There's, in addition to the newsletters, there's additional things that have captured, and one of the things that we were just talking about earlier was one of the early badges with the early colour representation of the club, and I think we've already decided that we're going to do a retro T-shirt for the club and use this badge as the template for it.
Aye.
So
You'll find inside there that there are scans, large scans of everything we actually do. You've got a mosquito there. That's good.
Have you? Okay.
Good.
So I'd like to say thanks very much for joining us. I'd like to do some more.
Thanks,
spend some
Lincoln.
time. I'd like to spend some more time with you guys and focus in on some of the stuff once we've digested some of this great data.
Okay.
But in the meantime, thanks very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
Okay, cheers.